everyone, it's Caitlin and welcome to another video. In this video, we are making takeout recipes, but at home. Whenever I feel in a cooking rut or I don't know what recipe to make, honestly, I just recreate one of our favorite takeout dishes because where we live, it takes us a little while to get to places that make food. But even if you live in the city, sometimes it can be fun to just make the takeout at home. That way you can customize it to your own liking, and sometimes you end up saving money too. So today I'm showing you 3 different recipes, all using tofu. I guarantee there's one that you're gonna love, so let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we're going to be making some vegan crispy orange tofu. And the tofu recipe actually starts pretty similarly for all of these, but let me walk you through it. We're going to start with some extra firm tofu. You want to make sure you press it really well. And as you can see here, I'm actually using my hands to tear it into chunks. You can totally slice it if you want, but I find that tearing the tofu gives it a meatier texture and it gives more texture to the edges too. So the rest of the stuff that we add to it sticks a lot better. So now to crisp this up in the oven, we're also going to add some avocado oil to it, plus some tamari, or you can also use soy sauce. Then you're going to take a spatula and mix that up until the tofu is well coated. And then to make it crispy, we're going to add some cornstarch, which helps absorb the extra liquid and also gives our tofu a sort of crust. So you can add that on top and then again toss it until it's evenly coated and the cornstarch has absorbed some of the liquid and it will almost look a little sticky. So then we're going to go ahead and transfer this to a baking sheet. You can line a baking sheet or use a ceramic one if you have a non-stick one, and spread it out so there's enough space between all of the cubes. And then we're going to pop this in the oven for 30 minutes, but we'll take it out about halfway to flip the tofu and make sure it's golden brown on both edges. So while that's in the oven, we can go ahead and work on our orange sauce. It's a pretty simple but very delicious. So to start out, you're going to warm some toasted sesame oil in a large pot, and then once it's warm, we'll add in some garlic, ginger, and chili flakes. These are going to infuse into the oil and become very aromatic and delicious. So once that's slightly golden, we're going to go ahead and add in our orange juice. I'm using freshly squeezed orange juice, but honestly, I've made it with regular and I can't really tell the difference. We'll also go ahead and add in some tamari, some vinegar, brown sugar for sweetness, and then stir all of that up and cook it for 3 to 5 minutes, making sure everything is dissolving. Bring this to a simmer for a few minutes and then we'll add in our orange zest. The reason we don't add it earlier is because it can become a little bitter if you cook it for too long. So then last but not least, we're going to thicken up our sauce. So we're adding a cornstarch slurry, which is just some cornstarch dissolved in a little bit of water. You're going to stir this until it's well combined and then simmer the sauce again. And as you can see, it becomes nice and glossy and thick. So this is what your tofu should look like once it comes out of the oven. Then we're going to transfer it into our orange sauce and briefly toss it to coat. This recipe is extra saucy because personally I love to drizzle this orange sauce on everything. So today I served it over some rice with some broccoli, and as you can see, we have some extra sauce to go on top. Then you can top it off with green onions and sesame seeds if you want. Then we'll dig in and enjoy. Next up, we're going to go a little spicy and make some vegan Kung Pao tofu. I love this recipe because it's a perfect sweet, savory, salty, spicy textural combination. So again, we're going to start by preparing our tofu the same way. Press your extra firm tofu or slice it if you want, and then we'll toss it in that avocado oil and the soy sauce or tamari. Then again with the cornstarch, mix it all up, same thing. So let's not get too redundant. We'll add it to the baking sheet. We're gonna cook it for the exact same time as we did our orange tofu. So now we can go ahead and move on to our prep or the sauteing of the veggies. So now actually before we saute our vegetables, we're going to add some Szechuan peppercorns to a hot skillet and dry toast them for about a minute. If you've never had Szechuan peppercorns before, they have this like tingly, spicy feeling to them. You can get them at most local Asian markets and they're really good, and toasting them helps to enhance their flavor. So after you toast them, you're going to remove them from the pan, and then we'll warm some oil in the pan and go in with our aromatics. So we've got some green onion and some garlic and ginger. And again, we're going to saute that until it's nice and bubbly and sizzly. And then we're going to go in with all of our colorful veggies. So we've got some red bell peppers, green bell peppers, and then for some crunch, we have some peanuts. And then for our spice, we're going to add in some dried chilies and the Szechuan peppercorns that we have also ground up. And I will say though, if you don't cut the chilies, they don't add too much spices. So even if you're more of a mild person, you can just reduce them. But if you want things spicier, you can actually chop them up more and the seeds will make it even hotter. So now we're going to make our sauce in the pan. It's a mixture of of rice vinegar, some hoisin sauce, some soy sauce, and some dark soy sauce. The dark soy sauce is mostly there to add color, so it is technically optional. If you don't have it, you don't necessarily have to have it. So then we'll mix all of that up, and again we're going to add a cornstarch slurry to help thin out and thicken our sauce. So we'll give it a mix and then simmer it until it's nice and bubbly and thick. And then at about this time, your crispy tofu should be done from the oven. So again, we'll add it to the pan with all the sauce, stir to combine, and the sauce is a lot thicker on this one. It sort of absorbs into the tofu and gives everything a nice glossy sheen. So then this is pretty much good as it is. I don't really feel the need to add any extra veggies to it, but I do like to serve it over rice. I just love this because it has like a bunch of different texture, flavor combinations. The crunchy peanuts add a little pizzazz to it too, and it's spicy, and I love spicy food. That is hellfire in my mouth. I am suffering right now. Last but certainly not least, we're going sweet and savory again, and we're going to make some vegan cashew chicken, but we all know we're going to be making cashew tofu. So this recipe, again, we're going to press our extra firm tofu and tear it up. It really is key, and I highly recommend you try tearing your tofu if you've never tried it before. Again, with the avocado, soy sauce, cornstarch, you guys know the drill. Transfer it to a baking sheet, spread it out, and we'll pop it in the oven and flip halfway through so it becomes nice and golden brown on both sides. Okay, now for the different part, the sauce. So for this recipe, we're actually going to whisk our sauce together first. We're going to start by adding some hoisin sauce to a bowl. Then we'll also add in some rice vinegar and some low sodium soy sauce or tamari if you're gluten-free. And then we're also going to be adding cornstarch to help thicken this up, plus a little water. And then we'll just whisk this until it's well combined, and you can go ahead and set that aside while we saute our aromatics. So then we'll add some oil to a pan, and then once it's warm, we're going to add the white portion of some green onions plus some garlic. Mix that all up and fry it for about a minute until the garlic becomes slightly golden and maybe even crispy around the edges. Then again, we're going to add our tofu to the pan, and you can give it a little bit of a toss so it gets more coated in the garlic and green onion mixture. And then we're going to go in and add in our hoisin sauce, and the heat is going to activate the cornstarch. It's going to coat the tofu. You're going to bring it to a simmer and cook it down until it's nice and glossy. And then as a final finishing touch, we're going to add in some roasted salted cashews. Cashews in stir fry are so good. I don't know why I haven't made this recipe sooner. It's seriously so addicting. So stir that around for a little bit, and then for our finishing touch, you're going to turn the heat on to low, and then add the reserved green portion of the green onions plus some toasted sesame oil. The reason we don't add the sesame oil earlier is because some of the flavor does get lost with heat, so we really want to keep that nutty umami flavor until the end. So you're going to mix it all up, and this is what it looks like. So delicious. And then again, like the orange tofu, I kept things pretty simple and served it over some white rice with some broccoli, but you could totally make stir-fried veggies, even add in veggies to the cashew chicken, whatever you want. But I want to show you the inside texture after you take a bite of the tofu. It's still like pretty firm on the inside, but it has a nice crispy, saucy, crusty coating on the outside. That's so, so good. All right, and that is it for this video. Leave a comment down below if there is any other takeout recipe that you want to see me veganize or just recreate at home. I have several other Asian inspired ones. I have some relevant videos. I will link them down below, and I also have a ton of other recipes on my blog, so be sure to check those out. These recipes are also on my blog as well. You can get the full list of ingredients, print the recipe for later, or save it to Pinterest. Before I head out, I just want to remind you to follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you're not already. You usually get a sneak peek of the recipes there first, so if you gotta have these takeout recipes, get on there and then you can make them before the YouTube video even comes out. All right, I think that's it for this video. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I look forward to virtually seeing you soon. Bye.